Tantsuyoga comes out of Watsu. It brings onto land the movement of water. Our flower is a water flower. Its roots are our legs that cross the right over the left. The soles of our 3 right feet meet in the center. Our arms cross the right over the left. Eyes closed, we are the fronds of our plant. We are moved by currents from every side. We are not trying to coordinate our breath or move to it. Whenever we feel ready, or are told to move to the next stage, or feel someone taking hold of our left arm, we take hold of the arm under our right arm. We push that arm towards the center. Our 3 hands join. The bulb of the flower floating on the surface. In water, in Watsu, floating someone on our arms level with our heart center is as much engaged in movement as is our body center, the one traditionally engaged on land. Here, both arms reach out from the heart. The waves get bigger and bigger. The flower is lifted higher and higher, so high that there is nothing left to do but blossom, and the petals open. When the one to be held rolls out of the flower into the round, the holder sits behind them, and the third, the guide, helps the holder adjust his position. With the right hand, the guide finds the best way to support the holder's back, a support appreciated by all, particularly those not used to sitting on the floor. Those still not comfortable on the floor can do the round at a table. When it is our turn to be holder, and our arms have found the places they will hold throughout the first celebration, and our feedback has helped our guide find the best place to support our back, we close our eyes. We keep them closed until we have held someone through all 7 celebrations and have in turn been held. Rather than following one holder all the way through, in this video you are shown different holders in each celebration. In this first celebration, the engagement with the breath is established. In water, in Watsu, when we sink into the bottom of the breath and do nothing, the getting lighter of the one floating on our arms draws our breath up. Here, the spreading apart of our arms as we do nothing, not even the doing of waiting, draws us up out of that emptiness. The engagement this creates is deeper and longer lasting than when we synchronize our breathing by looking or listening, ways that begin in separation and return to separation when we look the other way. As in Watsu, when our breath is drawn up through our body center and up through our heart center, they become our one core. The movement that accompanies and continues beyond the rising of the breath celebrates that union within. Without using our hands, we slip our arm under their arm, lift it up, and lay it over our thigh. We return our forearm to where it started from. Our other arm reaches over onto the corner of their chest. Often that forearm gets hooked on the shoulder, and the guide needs to help place it on the chest. In India, these 2 places are considered gates where the spirit enters. We call the one under the right arm the body gate, and the other the heart gate. When we hold these gates, we hold whatever may be happening within them to maintain their balance, their union within. And as we hold these gates, whatever rises within us may celebrate that union within their core. In the round's first 2 celebrations, our hands do not come into play because they have a tendency to inform, and take instructions from the brain. Our forearms can come directly from our core. Now that our core is engaged, our hand, too, can be slowly drawn from our core. The guide reaches over to help the hand to its destination. Our other arm continues to keep their heart gate open, holding them close to our heart. If you have had any experience with bodywork, as you move through these celebrations, you may be tempted to stroke muscle or press points. But this is not bodywork. We are not trying to fix anybody, but just to be with them. For many, this may be the first time they have been unconditionally held this way. The union that most people feel here is the union of our two cores, and rather than movement, it is usually celebrated with stillness. Our other hand is now ready to come from our core just as slowly. The stillness moves around to the back of the head to gently sink into the deepest hollow under the occiput, the mind gate. Holding it and the base with our leg and their heart center with our other hand, we are holding their wholeness with our wholeness, that which is greater than the sum of the parts. We start in the emptiness at the bottom of the breath, which is the place of oneness, and arrive at wholeness, something to truly celebrate. Just as being held takes us to a level of healing beyond that of being touched, coming to know our wholeness takes us to a still further level, a healing of both the one being held and the one holding. We hold their shoulder with our wholeness and rise with it into a spiral in the direction that most opens their shoulder. Many more movements and stretches like this are introduced in the advanced flower rounds, at the end of which you will be able to give a complete Tantsuyoga on both sides to anyone. We come into a still place, balancing the arm on our open hands, weighing its lightness. It changes with the slightest movement. Each time our breath rises higher up our spine, the arm rises higher and higher, celebrating union in Ascension. When the arm is laid down in front, the holder holds the back, his hands just behind the heart center and the body center. When a chime sounds, the one being held slides forward just far enough to no longer be touched. The holder's hands stay where they were. Whatever they are still holding celebrates the union in absence. At the next sounding of the chime, the one who had been held moves around to become the guide. The one who had held, eyes still closed, lies down to be held. The one who had been the guide moves into position to hold. The round continues. After all three have been held, the three again become a flower, their legs linked as before, but this time it is a lotus in a still pond, their hands on the shore around the pond, pressing into the vibrations of the earth that resonate up through their core and hum until there is a silence. Since there are no currents in a still pond, it is the silence that slowly lifts and crosses their arms, where the hands meet and become the surface of the still pond. Since water does not rise in a still pond, it is the light that opens all the flowers, that draws them up and shines on the opened petals. Eyes still closed, they move just far enough back to sit without touching each other, but still connected in the circle. When more than three gather in a circle of flowers and have each continued through their rounds, everyone joins in one still pond. The vibrations rise up from the earth and hum within each, and at the sound of the chime, silence. The silence raises up and crosses their arms. Their hands meet on the surface, and at the sound of the chime, are drawn up by the light that opens all the flowers. At the last chime, eyes still closed, They open their circle just enough to no longer be touching those sitting to either side, and are directed. Drop into the emptiness at the bottom of the breath, where you are still connected to all those in this circle. Let whatever draws you up out of the emptiness when you hold someone draw you up as whatever opens all the flowers continues to draw you up to meet in a single point of light over the circle. Let all that light pour back down into the emptiness. This final circle has no end. Everyone has been told beforehand to sit as long as they need and take whatever they want with them in silence. This flower round circle usually takes about 100 minutes. If there's only half that time available, everyone can begin in a grand flower in our lotus circle and share the 7 celebrations one-on-one instead of in a round. Whatever way they begin, they arrive together in the still pond. And in all our Tantsuyoga holding celebrations, celebrate the connection that is still there when they are no longer touching, and is still with them when they walk away. Those who learn this well enough to present it to others can start regular gatherings in homes, studios, or parks, and prepare newcomers in the first hour to join in a complete silent flower round circle those who already know it and arrive for the second hour. All you need to start as a team of 3 and introduce this to others can be downloaded from Tantsuyoga.com. Help bring the whole world into our celebrations of union.